Today we will be doing questions on sales of non-current assets. So the questions that I'll be doing is for the books of winner. So informations like machinery at cost 50,000 was given to us on the 1st of Jan 2019. Accumulated depreciation is given as 5,700. So the question mentioned that the machine will be depreciated at 10% per annum on net book value. So the word net book value here actually would have mean that we are going to use the method on reducing balance. Furthermore, the business policy is provided a full year's depreciation is calculated in the year of purchase, but no depreciation is charged in the year of sales. So this one we will look at it when we are doing calculation of depreciation later on. Then the last paragraph mentioned about machinery was sold, but it was bought a few years back. So later on, we're going to take a look at how it will affect our calculation for our gain or loss on sales of the non-current asset. And lastly, the business actually bought a new machine. So part A actually want us to calculate the gain or loss on sales or equipment before moving on to do the extract for financial performance and position. So let's take a look at how we're going to approach this question. So what happened is I will minimize the question on my right so that I have enough space to do my timeline. So I'm going to start off the timeline. The year end for this business is actually 31st December 2019, right on my right. On my left will be the beginning date, 1st of Jan 2019. So what I'm doing right now is basically just transferring information into the timeline. Okay, instead of using machinery, I use equipment because the question actually want us to prepare in terms of equipment. In fact, machinery are part of equipment as well. Okay. So this is what is going on 1st of Jan 2019. Okay, so basically I just want to summarize. On 30th September, we in fact sold a machine that previously cost us 10,000 on 28th February 2015. Right now, we are going to sell it for $5,000. Then of course, the following day, we bought a machine that cost 15,000. So if you want to calculate the gain or loss on sales or equipment, we have to look at the selling price versus the net book value of the equipment that we are selling. So if selling price is higher than net book value, then we are going to get a gain. Then of course, vice versa, we're going to get a loss if selling price is below the net book value. And net book value can be calculated by taking the cost of the non-current assets minus the accumulated depreciation. So let's take a look at what are the information that is already given to us in the questions. We in fact know the selling price is 5,000. We know that the cost price we paid for it previously at 10. So the only information that's lacking right now is we are not sure about the accumulated depreciation. We are not sure how much of the value of the equipment depreciation has been provided in the past. So we are going to look at it from our next slides onwards. So this is what happened again in the year 2019. So what we need to do is we need to work backwards to find out exactly which year is the year that we actually bought the machine. So if I move back 1 year, it will be 2018, ends on 31st December. Then I asked myself, is this the year that I actually bought the machine? Obviously, it's not right because we bought it. You need to move back further, even up to here, 2015. Okay. So when did we actually buy this machine? Was on 28th February. Okay, so we actually pay for it for $10,000. So coming back to this, you take a look at the policy of the business. They mentioned that a full year depreciation is calculated in the year of purchase. So what does that mean? That means even though we bought it on 28th February 2015, we are not going to count the depreciation on a monthly basis. Instead, we are going to charge a full year depreciation for the year 2015. So how do I calculate the depreciation for the machine, for that particular machine that we have bought in the 2015? We will have used 10,000 times 10% for the first year. Then when we move on to the second year, 2016, the same piece of machine, how much will the depreciation be? Because we are using reducing balance, that's why we will have to take the net book value in the second year, which translate to 10,000, the cost price of the machine, minus the accumulated depreciation in year one. With that, the net book value we times 10%. So I continue for the year 2017. Again, we use the same formula. The cost price remain the same, 10,000, but the accumulated by then will not be 1,000 anymore. It will be 1,900. So how do I get this 1,900? Is from the year one depreciation plus the year two add up. That becomes my accumulated depreciation. So if I want to calculate the net book value for the third year, I will have taken the cost price of the machine, which is 10, minus the accumulated depreciation as of the end of year two. Then I will be able to calculate the third year depreciation. I continue to do for 2018. So how do I get the accumulated to be 2710 over here? Is by taking the first year depreciation, second year depreciation, followed by third year, add up, it will be 2710. The reason for doing that is because you wanted to find out the net book value at the end of the third year, fourth year. Okay, so in this case, you will take 10% of the net book value, you will have calculated $729. And then now we are going to move on to the year that I'm doing. For the year 2019, if you read the questions, they say no depreciation is charged in the year of sales. What does that mean? It means even though for the year 2019, we have used this machine for 9 months, we are not going to charge depreciation. Reason being the business policy doesn't allow us to charge depreciation in the year that we are selling. From there, if I were to ask you how much is the accumulated depreciation for this machine that we are going to sell, it would have been 3,439. So how do I get the 3,439? Is taking the 4 years of depreciation, add up, that would be 3,439. So once we have that, then of course, we can in fact put out all this information into the timeline that we had drawn earlier on. Okay, maybe let me just take a look at what we can do right now. So if you want to calculate the net book value in this case, you can in fact take a look at the net book value, which is which we have already calculated, the one in red. So how much is my cost price of my equipment is in fact $10,000. How much is my accumulated depreciation as of now is actually 3,439, which we have already calculated. And that will in fact give us a net book value of 6,561. So this is my net book value of my equipment when I'm selling it on the 30th of September. But how much are we selling it for? We are only selling it for 5,000. So in other words, do we make a gain or loss? From here, you will be able to see that actually we are making a loss because my selling price is much lower than my net book value. So what I will do is I'll take my net book value minus my selling price, which is $5,000. That will have that would give us 1561. So basically this is our loss on selling this piece of equipment, 1561. So that is how we are going to answer part A. So it's actually a very, very long process. So getting the accumulated depreciation is the key to get the answer for this part A. Okay, once you're done, let's take a look at now. Just now we were saying, once you are done with that, we are going to do a statement of financial performance, which requires us to calculate the depreciation for the year 2019. So how do we calculate the depreciation for 2019? So we will have to look at the net book value of my equipment as at 31st December. So how can we calculate that? We can take the 50,000, the equipment at cost at the beginning. When I sell, I should minus my machine. That's why I'm minus 10 from here. But sometimes students tell me, hey, why not we minus 5? You must take note that this 5,000 is a selling price. When we are recording the equipment value here, it's always at the cost price. So if you think back previously, we added 10,000 into my equipment 5 years ago. Now, if you want to sell this same piece of machine, how much should we remove? We must always remove at the cost price. That's how I minus this 10,000 from here. Then on top of that, on 30th of September, the accumulated depreciation for this particular piece of machine should be removed as well because the machine is no longer with us. Okay. And lastly, if you buy any new machine, 15,000, we will have to add it in as well. You don't have to worry about the months. Some students ask me, what happens if I buy it, but I only use for a few months here? Does that mean I have to calculate depreciation based on the few months over here? In this case, no need. Why? Because the policy here stated, as long as you buy in that year, you are going to charge a full year. So regardless of how many months you use for that particular year. So once you are able to do that, you can now calculate your depreciation by taking the cost price, which is 55,000 minus 2261. How to get this 2261? This is your remaining accumulated depreciation after we remove the one that we sold. Once we are done with that, we will be able to get, this is what we call the net book value of my machine or equipment at the end of the year. Then I multiply by 10%. So with that, key into the calculator, my depreciation will have been 5273.9. Okay, once you are done with that, we are now ready to plug it into our extract. Okay, so what happened is if you want to do this extract, we are going to write down, okay, in this case, your depreciation of equipment, we have already calculated. In this case, the depreciation of equipment would have been 5273.90. Okay. Other than that, what else do we need to put into the performance extract? If you are observant, you will realize that in part A, we have already calculated the loss on sales of your equipment, which is your loss on sales of non-current assets. That would have cost us another 1561. So these are all our expenses that we need to plug into the extract. Okay, that's for part B. And lastly, for part C, we are supposed to prepare a financial position, which we need to prepare a 3-column for this because For non-current assets like equipment, we will need to value them at our net book value. So how to get the net book value is by putting in the cost. So just now we have already calculated the cost of the equipment is actually 55,000. Okay, if you are not sure, you can always take a look at the one that we have here. Over here is 55,000. Okay, so if you have a timeline with you side by side, it would have been a lot easier. Then after that, how do we even get the accumulated depreciation? Okay, this one, maybe let me just shift this down. Okay, I would like to put down the working just on top of it so that you can see how did we manage to calculate the cost just now is by doing this calculation, which we did earlier on. Then for your accumulated depreciation, so beside using 5,700 minus 3,439, we must add 5,273.9. What is 5,273.9? Is our current year of depreciation. So once you add up, then you can get the accumulated depreciation as at 31st December 2019. And lastly, why are we doing so much? Is because we want to know exactly how much my equipment is worth at the end of the accounting year. So how do I calculate my net book value of my equipment as at 31st December 2019? So I will key into my calculator the cost price of the equipment, which is 55, minus the accumulated depreciation. That will have given me 47465.1.